Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I want to thank our secretary for being here today and doing such an outstanding job. I, along with Senator Welch, think that you are doing a wonderful job. When I'm reading the headlines about all of these serious challenges with screwworm, you give me confidence. You
Thank
really
you.
do, that USDA is going to handle these challenges, and you've proven that over and over. So thank you for what you are doing. And I was thrilled about the department's recent announcement on the Great American Cotton Plan and the initiative to increase the demand, to improve trade, and to promote U.S. cotton as the alternative to synthetic fibers, which we'll know is safer, it's a healthier option, and it could really be a game changer for this struggling economy. And it just makes so much sense. In 1991, there were 181 cotton gins in Mississippi. Big Ted Kendall down in Bolton, he still is running his cotton gin that he has for many years. In 2000, there were only 62 gins, and the total number of cotton gins in Mississippi is down to 33. So that is so significant. I can remember as a child seeing the bumper stickers, "Cotton is king." It's not king anymore. And, we can bring that back, and there's no reason why we shouldn't. It's a tremendous economic impact associated with those figures. When gins disappear, jobs disappear, and the communities in rural areas, they have very few other options. But a key pillar of the USDA's Great American Cotton Plan is the Buying American Cotton Act, which you've already mentioned, and I thank you for bringing that attention there. And I introduced it in the Senate, and I already have almost 100 members of Congress on board with that. So what started out a year ago as some people thought as a messaging bill, we've gotten traction because it is so logical. And but thanks to the unique coalition of the Cotton Belt farmers, fashion brands that we all know and have heard of, they've gotten on board. Health advocates and business leaders across the nation, they are just embracing the Buy American Cotton Act, and it's become a major priority for the American producers as well as the retailers. We all love fashion. We all love going shopping. And to think that we're going to have more American cotton in these products because we're buying it anyway, we just want it safer and healthy. And thank you for your leadership on that, because it does represent a key step into restoring the textile industry here in the manufacturing and the supply chains from our adversaries. Tomorrow is Seersucker Day in the Senate, and it is just an encouragement, and it started by Mississippi Senator Trent Lott, of wearing cotton, wearing a seersucker suit tomorrow, and I'm going to encourage my colleagues to do that to acknowledge the cotton farmers. And again, I commend the administration for endorsing this effort and appreciate your partnership as you travel throughout the country. But Madam Secretary, will you discuss how the Buying American Cotton Act aligns with the USDA's priorities to expand in this domestic market for agricultural commodities, as well as we strengthen our national security?
Yeah, your leadership on this has been really incredible. And of course, coming from a cotton state, I had heard before this job all of the challenges. I didn't quite fully understand how really bad it had gotten out in the industry with the mills, et cetera. And it occurred to me that at this moment in time, with Make America Healthy Again, with putting America first, with opening up the markets around the world, with working to reshore and protect American markets, that cotton should be at the very top of that list. And there's certainly been a lot of struggles. And as I have seen with Secretary Kennedy, these incredible commitments. I was just with the IDFA, the dairy team yesterday, and they've made all these amazing commitments to take food coloring out of their ice cream and to do this with their ice cream and just to make it healthier again. And my vision with with your partnership, probably your vision too, is that all these great American companies should be at the table and say, from now on, I'm going to start with, let's say 20%. I'm only going to buy American cotton, and then 50%, and then more. And let's get back to the days where most of our clothing, et cetera, sheets, et cetera, are sourced with great American cotton. And then let's talk about it on the world stage, and let's make it a priority as we're out across the world. I think there's so much opportunity there. And this is what our founders envisioned, right? It's the elected members of the people working together with an executive branch that can go out and fight for the American dream and the American people.
Yeah, just the hotel industry and towels and sheets.
That's right.
This is so doable.
Would change everything.
And, I just am so grateful that we're headed in that direction now, because obviously in the past we took our eye off the ball there. Another topic I want to discuss is that something you've spent a lot of time with, the New World screwworm, and that's been confirmed here in the United States, that we were expecting and knew it was going to come, and the preparedness that your leadership has put forth to be ready for this. It's outstanding, because we certainly thought it would be here last fall, and, the investments that you've made that, but this pest, this screwworm, complicates the challenge of rebuilding the national cattle herd as well from a low record. And recent discussions about beef imports have concerned me and other members of how it could impact the strength of our domestic industry going into the future. We know the cattle market, it's a global market. It's like any other agricultural market. It goes through highs, it goes through lows, and we do need to ensure we're protecting our industry with only the necessary government intervention, but we've got to address this shortage. That's the only thing that's going to get us where we need to be, because when I go to meetings of cattlemen, I look around the room, and, our average is like in their 60s. So we need to incentivize young producers that they want to get into producing fine cattle in this country, and we can definitely do that. I know so many that want to be a cowboy. We just got to help them get there.
That's
But
right.
Madam Secretary, what is the administration doing to break down barriers for producers to rebuild their herds? And what should Congress be doing to help you achieve those goals?
Well, I think Congress did an amazing thing in the Working Families Tax Cut Act when we increased the definition of a young farmer or rancher from 5 to 10 years. That allows more access to a lot more programs at USDA to undergird and to support and to, vision cast for these ranchers so they see a future in this business, especially the first and second generationers. Obviously want to protect the multi-generations, but the incentive to get into the business is really important. The magic, if you will, of the Make America Healthy Again movement is that almost $400 million a day that USDA spends in nutrition programs, $400 million a day across 16 nutrition programs, as we're working to localize and get healthier food and real food like protein, our great American beef, into schools, into school lunches, into the stocking standards for our retailers that are taking the SNAP program. These are all market-moving, game-changing opportunities that incentivize while ensuring on the back end that we're fighting the lawfare fight. I mean, you all see this as much as I do. We're leaning in, and all the ranchers who, I've got one in Arizona, a fifth generationer who's about to lose his ranch because the state declared it needed more land for solar panels. The same thing's happening in upstate New York. We had the same thing with a 175-year-old farm in New Jersey. We're fighting for the King Ranch family in Washington. So it is a multitude of issues, but ensuring that we're preserving these great generational ranches from a national security perspective. It's not just because it's the righteous and right thing to do. This is a national security issue, while we're incentivizing the next generation to lean in, while we're taking the burdens off. The grazing allotments and regulation under the last administration were pretty severe. It was very clear there wasn't really an incentive to support cattle ranching. And so we opened up about 5 million more acres of federal government land for our Western ranchers and giving them more access. So there are a lot of steps we're taking, but ultimately I do think this is a national security and a real priority.
Yes, we have to be able to feed our country. There's no doubt. And another thing I want to mention, I know my time is out, is with the timber industry, multifamily housing built with wood,
That's
laminated wood. There's no reason we should not be going in that direction, and I would love to see some incentives there for those developers who choose wood, which is safe and a lot of times a lot quicker to put up, which reduces the labor cost on a multifamily housing that we know we have a dire shortage in this country. Thank you, Mr.
Great.
Chairman.
Thank you, Senator.